In the far corner of the galaxy there was a small planet called Doria 9, dry land, cold nights, no cities, no people. Only one human lived there. His name was Captain Rian Wolf, a soldier. A survivor. Earth was gone, destroyed in the last galactic war. Most humans were dead, few escaped. Rian was one of them. Now, he guarded an old outpost. It had food, weapons, and an old AI system. No one came here, no one cared. Until today. It started with a sound, a low rumble in the sky. Rian looked up. A small ship was falling fast, leaving fire behind it. It crashed just outside the outpost wall. Rian grabbed his rifle and ran. He moved through the dust storm, eyes sharp. His boots crunched on dry ground. The ship was burning. Its door opened slowly with a hiss. Inside he saw her. She was not human, skin like silver, hair glowing white. She was bleeding blue blood. She looked at Rian with tired eyes and whispered, "You. You are human?" Rian aimed his gun. "Yes, who are you?" "My name is Sarana," she said weakly. "I need your help. They are coming." "Who's coming?" She tried to stand but fell. "The Zaran Empire. They want to erase all life." "That isn't pure." Rian stepped back. He had heard of the Zaran once, long ago. They were ruthless. "Why come here?" he asked. "You. Humans. You fought them before?" "You were the only ones who scared them." Rian looked at her face. She wasn't lying. He lowered his rifle. "Come inside." He carried her into the outpost and closed the blast doors. Inside, the lights flickered. The AI system scanned her, but said nothing. No records. "Unknown species." Rian placed her on the med table. The system began basic healing. Sarana grabbed his arm. "They tracked me. They will come for me. And when they see a human, they will want you too. Let them come," Rian said. "I've been bored anyway." But deep inside, Rian felt something he hadn't felt in years. Fear. That night he sat near the control panel, watching the sky. No stars. Just black. Then the alarm rang. Multiple signals. Fast-moving ships. Approaching fast, he looked at the radar. 5 enemy crafts. Small, but fast. Soldiers, maybe scouts. Rian stood up. Grabbed his armor. Loaded his rifle. Switched on the old human turret system. As the enemy ships landed, dust filled the air again. Shadows moved outside the wall. Then silence. Rian waited. One by one, the Zaran soldiers appeared. Tall, armored, with long blades. No faces. Just helmets. They came like ghosts, but Rian was ready. He pressed the trigger. The turret fired. One Zaran fell, another. Then he ran outside with his gun, firing shot after shot. His movements were sharp, fast. Human-style, chaotic, unpredictable. The Zaran tried to circle him, but he was smarter. He used smoke, fire, loud sounds. He distracted them. He fought like a man with nothing to lose. In 10 minutes, they were all dead. Blue blood on the sand. Rian stood there, breathing heavy. His armor cracked, shoulder bleeding. From behind, Sarana came walking, holding the wall. "You killed them?" she asked. He nodded. She looked at him with wide eyes. "You don't understand what you've done. The Queen. She watches everything. When her soldiers die, she knows." Rian cleaned his gun. "Then let her watch." Sarana looked up at the sky, and far above, hidden behind clouds, a giant ship floated, watching, silent. Inside, a tall, dark figure stood. Her eyes glowed gold. Her voice was soft but cold. "Interesting," she said. "He killed my hunters, a human." Then she turned to her guards. "Bring me the human." The wind on Doria 9 had stopped. The sky was quiet again, but something had changed. Captain Rian Wolf stood over the bodies of the alien soldiers. Smoke rose from their armor. His fingers were still shaking, not from fear, but from memory. It had been 5 years since he last killed. And it all came back too easily. Inside the outpost, Sarana sat on a metal bench, her wounds slowly healing. The lights above her flickered. She looked at Rian as he entered. "You fought like no one I've ever seen," she said. "I fought like a human," he replied. "We fight hardest when we're already dead inside." She didn't smile. Instead, she stood slowly and walked to a screen showing radar scans. "They're not done," she said. That was only a scout group. The Queen will send her real army next time. Let her, Rian said. This outpost is ready. Sarana shook her head. No, it's not. You're brave. But you're alone. Rian paused. He had always been alone since Earth burned. Since his team died. Since the last scream of his commander echoed in his ears. But now he had a choice. Sarana continued. There's someone who can help. A former Zaran general, he rebelled. They tried to erase him, but he survived. Rian narrowed his eyes. Why would I trust a Zaran? Because, Sarana whispered, he hates the Queen more than you do. Scene cut, a hidden moon. Black rock base, far away, on a hidden moon made of dark stone and fire rivers, an old warrior sat inside a cave. His armor was broken, his face had scars. One eye was missing. The other glowed dim red. His name was DRXL. Once he was the Queen's top general. Now he was a ghost. When Sarana and Rian reached him, Draxil did not look surprised. I smelled the blood, he said. Zaran blood. You killed them, human. Rian nodded. I don't like uninvited guests. Draxil laughed, a dry, bitter sound. You've got fire. That's rare these days. Rian spoke plainly. I need help to kill your queen. Draxil stood tall and still powerful. Then you'll need more than guns. You'll need to think like her. He walked to a metal table, placed a dusty hologram cube. It showed a star map. That, Draxil said, pointing to a red circle, is her core base, shielded, hidden, but not invincible. Sarana looked worried. How do we even get close? Draxil smiled. We don't go close. We make her come. To us. Scene cut, Doria 9, preparing for war back at the outpost. Draxil began training Rian in Zaran tactics, how they move, how they think, how they fear. Rian taught him human-style chaos explosives, traps, and surprise. Together, they built a plan. They sent out a signal coded in old Zaran royal language. It was a trap. The Queen would believe her lost general had returned to betray her. She would come herself, but Rian had one more step. He sent a human message into deep space. A call. Any survivors of Earth, this is Captain Wolf. One more fight. One more chance to matter. Come to Doria 9. Scene cut, the Queen's ship inside her throne room. The Queen listened. She watched the signal. She heard the voice of a human, and she felt something strange, curiosity. This one is different, she said. He is not like the others. He fights like his world still lives. She stood, her long cloak dragging behind her. Prepare my fleet. I will burn this outpost myself. Her guards bowed low. Bring me the human. In deep space, where stars sleep and light forgets to shine, there floated a ship not made, but grown. It was alive. It breathed. It was the Queen's fortress, built from the bones of dead planets and the metal of crushed empires. No doors, no windows. Only darkness and her. She sat on a throne that pulsed like a heartbeat. Around her, alien creatures knelt in silence. Some had wings, some had claws, none had names. The Queen was ancient. No one remembered her birth. No one dared to speak of her age. But now, something new had touched her thoughts. A human, seen, inside the Queen's mind, cold, calm, calculating. She had seen him through the eyes of her fallen scouts. A single man, dirty armor, old rifle, broken heart. But he fought like a storm. Quick, wild, unpredictable. She did not fear many things, but she feared memory, because the last time she felt fear, it was because of humans. They had no claws, no wings, no telepathy, yet they had burned her ships. They had screamed as they died, and still they won. Now one had returned, and he had killed her blood. Her voice echoed in her chamber. Send him a message. One of her guards blinked nervously. What shall we say, Your Grace? She stood slowly. Say nothing, but let him hear our silence. Scene. Doria 9. One day later, the stars above the outpost turned black. Not from night, but from shadow. A strange object entered the sky, smooth and silent, like a drop of oil falling into water. It didn't land. It hovered. Then it opened. No weapons. No lights, only a box floating down from the sky. It landed in front of Rian. He stepped forward slowly. Rifle raised, Serana and Draxil stood behind him. Rian opened the box. Inside, a single flower, glowing, faint blue, known in old Zaran lore as the Mark of Doom. The queen's symbol for chosen prey, and beside it a small human child's drawing, a planet burning. A figure standing alone. Rian stared at it, silent. "She knows you," Serana whispered. Draxil stepped forward, grim. "This is not just a message. This is a warning." "She's not sending soldiers this time." Rian clenched his fists. "Then who is she sending?" Draxil looked at the sky. "Herself." Seen. Across the galaxy, human signal detected while the queen moved. Someone else was listening, on a far mining moon, hidden in asteroid dust. A group of human survivors heard Rian's old signal. An old soldier raised his head. "Captain." "Wolf. I thought he died on Europa Station." Another voice replied, "If he's alive, he's calling for war." A woman in armor nodded. "Then let's answer." One by one, human ships powered up again. Earth was gone. But humans were not done fighting. Final scene, Queen's fortress, preparing for war. The queen walked into her war chamber. She didn't yell. She didn't scream. She simply pointed. A fleet rose behind her, silent, endless dots as she turned to her army. She spoke 2 words, the human. "Some traps are made of wires and weapons. Others are made of silence." Captain Rian Wolf stared at the glowing blue flower the queen had sent. He didn't speak for a long time. Outside, the air on Doria 9 had turned still again. Not peaceful. Just quiet. The kind of quiet that comes before a knife strikes. Inside the outpost, Serana and Draxil watched him closely. "She's not just threatening you," Serana said. "She's calling you," Rian nodded slowly. "I know, and I'm going to answer." Scene. Secret signal room, Doria 9 underground. They moved into the underground level of the outpost. Dust, wires, and ancient human tech filled the room. Rian reached into a steel box and pulled out a tiny chip marked with the faded Earth. "Flag. Back when Earth fell," he said, "we had one last plan. A fake surrender beacon. Something that would pull in any enemy who wanted us dead." Serana looked confused. "A trap?" "No," Rian replied. "The trap, one built for something like her." He placed the chip into the signal tower. It began to hum. The signal said only one word, "Surrender." But hidden in that word was a coded pattern, a call to every human ship nearby. A signal that Earth's war wasn't over. Not yet. Scene cut. The Queen's mind space, far away, inside her living ship. The Queen sat in a dark pool of light. Her thoughts stretched across galaxies. She heard the word, "Surrender." She smiled. "He bends." At last. She didn't. No, she was already inside the trap. Scene, a false piece, Doria 9 above ground, hours later. A new ship arrived, but it was not hers. It was a single. Strange craft, black, silent, and ZHAR and dash made. No weapons pointed outward. No threat, just a messenger stepped out slim, in gold armor, face hidden. "I come in peace," the messenger said. Rian stood before him. "Peace isn't your queen's style." The messenger nodded slowly. "She wishes to meet, no war. No army, just to talk." Serana narrowed her eyes. "She wants to look inside your mind. She wants to break him," Draxil said darkly. Rian answered calmly. "Then let her try." Scene. Queen's ship, the meeting chamber. He arrived alone. His armor was scratched, his rifle left behind. Only a knife at his side. Old Earth steel. The queen sat on a throne made of light and bones. Around her were her advisors, silent, faceless. She studied Rian carefully, slowly. "You are smaller than I imagined." "You're quieter than I expected," Rian replied. She smiled. "Why do you fight? Your world is gone. Your people are scattered. You should want peace." Rian didn't blink. "Peace built on ashes isn't peace. It's surrender." The queen leaned forward. "Then why are you here?" He smiled. "To waste your time." Her eyes narrowed, then suddenly the room shook. Lights flashed red. Far away. Draxil had activated the trap signal from deep space. 3 hidden human ships, uncloaked, old, rusted, powerful. They began firing at the Queen's fleet. Fighters launched. War returned. The Queen stood, furious. "You lied." Rian stepped back slowly. No, I just planned ahead. He threw a flash grenade, escaped through the floor hatch built by Draxel's map. As chaos erupted in the Queen's ship, her final words echoed, "You cannot run forever, human. I will peel your mind open myself." In the silence of space, just before a war begins, there is no sound, only breath, only fear. And then fire. Seeing Zaran fleet under attack, the Queen's mighty fleet, once called the Iron Sky, now burned from within. Old human warships, scarred, slow, but stubborn, had appeared like ghosts, not sleek or beautiful, like Zaran ships, but loud, angry, unpredictable. They hit fast, they hit hard. They didn't come to survive. They came to win. Inside her throne room, the Queen screamed not with sound, but through the minds of her army. They are just humans, weak, scattered. Why won't they fall? But her soldiers hesitated because humans don't fight like machines. They fight like animals with nothing to lose. Scene, human war room, Doria 9 underground. Captain Rian Wolf stood in front of an old, cracked war map. Dots blinked red, yellow, blue signals from human and rebel alien ships that had answered his call. He looked at Serana, at Draxel, at the volunteers who had joined him. Some were human, some were not, but they all had one thing in common: the Queen wanted them extinct. "We strike her communication towers," Rian said. "Cut her mind from her fleet, then we take the core." Draxel nodded. "If we break the link, her army will lose purpose. They are built to obey, not to think. Then we make them think." Rian replied. Scene, the first push rebel assault begins. Dozens of ships flew toward the Zaran capital Mooncaras, the coal-black planet where the Queen stored her deepest tech and oldest secrets. The Queen didn't panic. She never had to, but this time something felt wrong. Her commands were slower. Her connection to her ships faded, and then one of her mind towers exploded. Sabotage inside her mind. Something broke. Static, noise. Her voice faltered. "Obey, strike, Nothing. Half her army stopped moving. Scene, ground. Assault. Rian leads the charge. Rian and his team landed on Kara's dust, black glass. Sharp whines. They moved in squad, small, fast, dangerous, guerrilla style. Rian didn't use big words. He gave short orders. Left, cover, move, now. Every second counted. Zaran soldiers, confused without the Queen's signal, fired blindly. Rian fought with rage and memory. His bullets didn't just kill, they told a story. This is for Earth. This is for my team. This is for the ones who never made it to the stars. Draxil broke open command doors with brute strength. Serana hacked security fields using royal codes. Every human loss made the fire burn hotter. Scene. The Queen watches, alone in her mind. She could feel them, humans crawling into the heart of her empire, for the first time. She felt something new. Not fear. Doubt. How do they do it? She whispered. "They burn," said her last general, "but they do not fade." Scene. Final blow. Inside the control core, Rian placed the explosive on the main neural link, the Queen's mind node. If it blew, her whole control system would collapse. "You sure this will work?" Serana asked. "No," Rian said. "But I'm doing it anyway." She gave him a sad smile. So human. As they ran, the room exploded behind them. Light turned to flame. Circuits screamed like dying birds across the Zaran fleet. Ships went dark. Soldiers froze. The Queen, cut from her army, fell to her knees in the throne room alone with her thoughts for the first time in centuries, and the last words she heard before her palace cracked, "Humanity sends its regards." When the fire stopped falling and the guns fell silent, only two beings remained in the Queen's chamber: the monster she built, and the man she couldn't kill. Scene. Inside the broken palace, throne hall, Zaran capital Moon, the walls were cracked. The light flickered like dying stars. Smoke hung in the air like ghosts. Captain Rian Wolf walked slowly through the Queen's palace, rifle gone, armor dented, blood on his hands that wasn't just his. Each step echoed. He passed broken statues, burnt banners, Shattered mirrors made from memory metal that once showed her face in every direction. Now it only showed him. He stepped into the throne room. There she was, the queen of ZHAR, and no guards. No blades, no mind-link. Just her, alone, seen. The final conversation begins. She was seated on the throne, spine straight, crown dim, eyes still glowing, but no longer proud. You came to finish it? She asked. No, Rian said. I came to understand it. She tilted her head. You're human. You destroy what you don't understand. Rian walked forward slowly. We fight what tries to erase us. Big difference. She studied him like a puzzle she still couldn't solve. Why do your kind keep standing even when you know you will fall? Because we don't stand for survival, Rian said. We stand for choice. For our stories, our dead. Our children. Our ugly, beautiful, broken world. She laughed quietly. Your planet is gone? Rian stepped closer. But the idea of it isn't. Seen. Temptation and truth. She stood now taller than him. Alien and elegant skin made of living crystal and memory. I could give you peace, she said. Your own colony, your name in history. I could rebuild Earth, let you lead it. No, Rian said. Because it wouldn't be real. It would be yours. Then what do you want? He looked at her calm, tired, unwavering. I want you to know that no matter how long you ruled, no matter how many minds you controlled, one human, just one, still made you bleed. Silence. Then a single tear rolled down her cheek. But it wasn't sadness. It was rage. Seen. The final duel. No weapons. Just will. She attacked without warning, sharp claws. Mind pulse waves, speed beyond reason. But Rian didn't move like a soldier. He moved like a man with a purpose. He dodged, blocked, struck back, not to kill, but to remind her that he was still here. The fight wasn't clean. It wasn't grand. It was personal. When he finally knocked her to the floor, she didn't rise. Breathing hard, she looked up and whispered, What makes you so dangerous? He knelt down beside her. Because we humans lose everything and still choose to fight. Seen. Her empire dies as her palace burned around them. Her connection to the stars broke forever. Zaran ships fled. Her soldiers scattered. The hive was no more. Rian walked out of the ruins alive, but not whole. He had won, but the cost was behind his eyes. Seen. Doria 9 weeks later, the fires had cooled. The skies had cleared. The broken towers of Zaran rule were dust. Captain Rian Wolf stood on the old outpost balcony looking at the stars, not in fear. Not in pain, but in silence. He had walked through hell. Fought gods, faced the end, and still, somehow, he was just a man. Seen. Across the stars, messages begin to spread. Ships returned from the edges of space. Human survivors, refugees, soldiers, scientists, farmers, children, some wore the Earth emblem. Some carried nothing but memory. They had heard Rian's signal. One more fight, one more chance to matter. And now they had come to live again. Seen. Sarana speaks to the new council. Sarana stood before a mixed group, human, rebel, alien, even some former Zaran drones who had gained free thought after the Queen's fall. We all lost something, she said. Homes, history, blood. But the human taught us this. You can lose everything and still choose who you are tomorrow. They called the new settlement Freehold 1, not a capital, not a command center. A beginning. Seen. Rian's farewell message, recorded in a broken room, before he disappeared from the public eye. Rian recorded one final message. It wasn't long, no speech. No celebration. Just words, simple and sharp. If you're hearing this, we made it. Not because we were stronger, but because we never stopped choosing. Remember that. The Queen fell because she thought fear controlled everything. She was wrong. If you ever face another monster, don't ask what it wants. Ask what you believe. That's the legacy, not me, you. Seen. A child asks a question, years later. A young girl on Freehold 1 looked up at a broken flag of Earth hanging in the sky dome. She asked her mother, Why are humans so stubborn? Her mother smiled. Because we are made of stories, and stories don't surrender. Final scene. Distant galaxy. A new threat watches in the cold edge of an unknown galaxy. A strange signal pulsed. Not ZJR and not human. Just watching, listening to the human voice that echoed across time. Bring me the human. But this time, the message didn't sound like fear. It sounded like respect.